There comes a moment in life when everything you once believed in gets shaken to its core. The dream you had, gone. The people you trusted, nowhere to be found. The strength you once carried feels like it's been drained out of you. It's in that moment, when life breaks you, that you face a choice: stay down and accept defeat, or rise up and become something greater than you ever thought possible. Pain is something we all experience. You can't escape it, you can't avoid it, and you sure as hell can't ignore it. But here's the truth. Pain is your greatest teacher. It exposes your weaknesses, your fears, your doubts. It tears away the false sense of security you've built around yourself and forces you to see what you're truly made of. Some people let pain define them, make them bitter, destroy their confidence. Others, they use it. They let pain be the fuel that drives them to a level they never imagined reaching. You see, most people think their breaking point is the end of the road. But let me tell you something. Your breaking point is your turning point. That moment when you feel like you can't take it anymore, that's the moment when you have the most power to change. Because when life has taken everything from you, you have nothing left to lose. So why not rebuild yourself into someone unstoppable? Every successful person you admire, every warrior who made it to the top, every survivor who defied the odds, they all had one thing in common. They didn't let their pain break them. They let it awaken them. When life breaks you, you have to make a decision. Are you going to let the fire consume you, or are you going to walk through it and let it forge you into something stronger? Weak people run from the fire. They avoid struggle. They hide from challenges. They let fear control them. But the strong, they step into the fire, knowing that on the other side of it, they will be transformed. They embrace the struggle. They endure the pain. They let the fire refine them until they become unbreakable. But here's the most important thing you need to understand. You are not your past. You are not your failures, your heartbreaks, or the people who walked away from you. You're not defined by what broke you. You are defined by what you do next. You have the power to rewrite your story, to turn your scars into strength, to turn your struggles into victories. So the next time life knocks you down, don't stay there. Rise, stand up, look pain in the eye and tell it, "You will not break me." Because the moment you decide that nothing can stop you, the moment you refuse to be a victim to your circumstances, that's the moment your new life begins. Here's your expanded section in a powerful, motivational, and storytelling style. Pain is the greatest teacher you will ever have in this life. It doesn't whisper lessons softly. It doesn't hand you wisdom in a neatly wrapped package. No, pain comes crashing in like a storm, tearing apart everything you thought was certain. It breaks you open, shatters the illusions you've built around yourself, and forces you to see reality with new eyes. And in that destruction, in that moment when everything seems lost, is the very lesson you need to rise stronger than ever before. Think about the most powerful people in the world, not the ones born into comfort, but the ones who built themselves from nothing, the ones who clawed their way out of darkness, who refused to stay broken, who turned their pain into fuel. Every single one of them had a moment, a defining moment, when they had to make a choice. Let pain destroy them or let it drive them. And those who let it drive them, they became unstoppable. Maybe right now you're in a season of pain. Maybe life has taken everything from you, your job, your confidence, your peace of mind. Maybe the people you love the most have left you. Maybe you wake up every morning with a weight in your chest so heavy it feels like you'll never breathe freely again. And you're asking yourself, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why is life so unfair? But what if I told you that this pain, this very thing that feels like it's crushing you, is the key to your transformation? What if I told you that the struggle you're facing right now is molding you into the person you were meant to become? What if instead of running from the pain, you faced it head on and allowed it to teach you what comfort never could? Because the truth is, comfort never made anyone great. Comfort lulls you into complacency, convinces you that you're fine where you are, tricks you into settling for less than what you're capable of. But pain wakes you up. Pain rips you out of your illusions and forces you to evolve. Think about the butterfly. Before it can fly, it must struggle. Trapped inside its cocoon, it fights and pushes and stretches, using every ounce of its strength to break free. And that struggle, that pain, is what gives it the power to fly. If you cut open the cocoon too soon, if you take away the struggle, the butterfly will never be strong enough to soar. Now let's talk about your life. Let's talk about the moments that hurt you, the moments that made you question everything. Maybe you've lost something you thought you could never live without. Maybe you've faced rejection so brutal it made you doubt your worth. Maybe you've worked tirelessly for something only to see it slip through your fingers and it broke you. It left you feeling empty, hopeless, like you had nothing left to give. But let me ask you something. Did it really break you? Or did it strip away the things that weren't meant for you? Did it tear down the weak parts of you so that something stronger could be built in its place? Did it force you to find a strength within yourself that you never knew existed? Because that's what pain does. It pushes you past your limits. It takes you to the edge of who you are and dares you to become more. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you patience. It teaches you that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can get back up. Think about the strongest people you know, the ones who inspire you, the ones who walk through life with confidence, with wisdom, with an unshakable belief in themselves. Do you think they got there by avoiding pain? Do you think they lived an easy life, free of struggle and hardship? Or do you think they earned their strength through fire? Look at athletes, pushing their bodies beyond exhaustion, training through injuries, sacrificing comfort for greatness. Look at entrepreneurs, failing again, losing money, facing ridicule before they finally break through. Look at survivors, people who have faced loss, betrayal, and suffering beyond imagination, yet still stand tall, refusing to be defined by their past. They didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because pain shaped them, refined them, forged them into something greater. And now it's your turn. You can look at your pain as a curse, as something unfair, something you wish would just go away, or you can look at it as your training ground. You can let it harden you, strengthen you, turn you into someone who cannot be broken. Because the truth is, life is going to test you. It's going to push you, challenge you, and sometimes it's going to bring you to your knees. But those moments are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to wake you up, to force you to fight for the life you deserve. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask why me, ask, what is this teaching me? How can I use this? How can I take this pain and turn it into power? Because I promise you, if you choose to embrace the struggle instead of running from it, if you choose to learn from the pain instead of letting it break you, there will come a day when you look back and realize the pain was never there to destroy you. It was there to build you. There is a moment in life when you feel like you've reached your absolute limit. You've given everything you had, fought every battle, endured every hardship, and yet here you are, on the edge, broken, exhausted, and ready to give up. It's the moment when the weight of your failures, disappointments, and setbacks feels unbearable. It's the moment when life seems to have shattered every ounce of hope you carried. And in that moment, you believe you have nothing left. But what if I told you that this moment, this breaking point, is not the end? What if I told you that this is the exact moment when everything can change? Because as much as it feels like you've reached rock bottom, the truth is this is where your power begins. Every single person who has ever transformed their life has reached this point. The point where they thought they couldn't take it anymore. The point where they felt like they were drowning, suffocating, under the weight of their struggles. The point where they questioned if it was even worth it to keep going. And do you know what separated those who rose from those who stayed down? One decision, one moment of clarity, one realization that their breaking point was actually their turning point. You see, pain is not the enemy. Struggle is not the enemy. The enemy is the belief that you are powerless in the face of these things, because you are not. In fact, this breaking point is the most powerful moment you will ever experience, because this is the moment when you get to decide, will you stay down or will you rise? Think about a muscle. When you train it, when you push it beyond its limits, it breaks down. It literally tears apart. And in that breaking, it grows back stronger. But if you stop, if you give up because of the pain, you never build that strength. Life works the same way. When you're tested, when you're pushed to your limits, it's not to destroy you, it's to force you to grow. Look at the greatest success stories in the world. They all have something in common. At some point, they hit rock bottom. At some point, they were told they weren't good enough. At some point, they lost everything. And in that moment, they had a choice. Let life break them completely or use that pain as fuel. There was a man who got fired from his job and told he wasn't creative enough. That same man went on to create an empire that would change the world of entertainment forever. His name was Walt Disney. There was a man who was rejected over and over, who spent nights sleeping in his car, who was told he would never make it. That man became one of the greatest actors of our time, Jim Carrey. There was a woman who was divorced, broke, living on welfare, and rejected by publishers more times than she could count. That woman became J.K. Rowling. What do they all have in common? They hit their breaking point, but instead of letting it define them, they made it their turning point. They looked at their struggles and said, this will not break me, this will make me. And now it's your turn. You have two choices right now. You can let this moment be the thing that destroys you. You can stay down, believe the lies that tell you you're not good enough, that it's too hard, that you'll never make it, or you can stand up. You can decide that this moment is where it all changes. Because here's the truth. Pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The pain you're feeling right now, the exhaustion, the frustration, the heartbreak, it will pass. But if you quit now, if you let this breaking point stop you, you will carry that regret with you for the rest of your life. You will always wonder, what if? What if you had pushed just a little harder? What if you had held on just a little longer? What if you had believed in yourself just enough to see what was on the other side of this moment? And let me tell you something, you don't want to live with that regret. Because on the other side of this pain is your breakthrough. On the other side of this struggle is the life you've been dreaming of. But you'll never see it if you give up now. So I'm telling you, stand up, wipe the tears from your face, shake off the doubt. Stop letting life tell you who you are and start deciding for yourself. You are not weak. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not defeated. You are in the process of becoming something greater than you ever imagined. This is not the end. This is the moment where everything changes. This is the moment you take control. This is your turning point. Your past does not define you. Your pain does not define you. Your failures, your heartbreaks, the moments where life knocked you down and left you gasping for air, none of it determines who you are. What truly defines you is what you do next, the story you choose to write from this moment forward, the decision you make right now about who you are going to become. Too many people live as prisoners of their past. They let the wounds of yesterday shape their identity. They replay their mistakes over and over, convincing themselves that they are not worthy of a better future. They hold on to the betrayals, the disappointments, the losses, as if those things are chains that can never be broken. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the person people told you that you were. You have the power to rewrite your story. Think about the most powerful books ever written, the movies that moved you, the stories that inspired you. None of them are great because everything was easy. They are great because of the struggle, the transformation, the rise of the hero from the depths of adversity. The pain, the obstacles, the losses, those are what make the victory so powerful. And your life is no different. Maybe you've been through things that no one understands. Maybe you've been abandoned, rejected, humiliated, or broken in ways that make it hard to believe in yourself. Maybe you've tried and failed so many times that you've started to think success isn't for you. But that's just one chapter of your story. That's not the ending. You get to decide what happens next. You get to pick up the pen and write a new narrative. Because every single day you have a choice. You can keep telling yourself the same old story. I'll never be enough. I always fail. Life is unfair to me. Or you can tell yourself something new. You can decide that your past was just preparation for your comeback. You can decide that the pain you went through is fuel, not a burden. You can decide that no matter what happened before, today, right now, you are in control. There are people in this world who went through absolute hell, who lost everything, who hit rock bottom in ways most can't even imagine. And yet, they refuse to let that be their final chapter. They chose to rewrite their story. There was a man who grew up in poverty, abused, homeless, and struggling just to survive. He could have let that be his identity. He could have stayed bitter, resentful, convinced that life would never change for him. But instead, he made a choice. He pushed himself to learn, to grow, to believe in something greater. That man is now one of the highest paid actors in the world, Tyler Perry. There was a woman who was told she was too poor, too unqualified, too broken to ever make something of herself. She could have let those words define her. She could have believed what others told her, but she didn't. She chose to write a different story, and that woman became Oprah Winfrey. And now it's your turn. What are you going to do with your story? Are you going to let the past dictate your future? Are you going to keep carrying the weight of what happened to you, using it as an excuse to stay stuck? Or are you going to make the decision right now that you are more than what you've been through? Because here's the truth. Your story isn't over yet. And the most powerful part, the part where you rise, where you transform, where you become the person you were always meant to be, that part is still unwritten. And you hold the pen. So decide that today is the day you stop living in the shadows of yesterday. Decide that today is the day you rewrite your story. Decide that no matter how dark the past has been, your future is still waiting for you to claim it. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become next. So now the question is, what are you going to do with this moment? Are you going to let the past chain you down, or are you going to rise? Are you going to keep telling yourself the same old story, or are you going to pick up the pen and write a new one? Because the truth is, life doesn't owe you a happy ending. You have to create it. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success, happiness, or fulfillment. It's up to you. Your past was the training ground, but your future, that's your battlefield. And if you want victory, you have to be willing to fight for it. Maybe people have doubted you. Maybe they've laughed at your dreams. Maybe life has knocked you down so many times that getting back up feels impossible. But listen to me. You are not done yet. As long as there is breath in your body, there is fight left in your soul. And warriors don't surrender. Fighters don't retreat. Champions don't quit. You think you've been through hell? Good, because that means you've already walked through fire, and now you know you can survive anything. Pain is temporary. Regret is forever. You have two choices. Suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. But make no mistake, one will make you stronger, and the other will haunt you for the rest of your life. Remember what Rocky Balboa said, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Life is going to hit you. It's going to knock you down, break you, make you question everything. But when that happens, you don't stay down. You don't make excuses. You rise, you fight, you keep moving forward. Muhammad Ali once said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's the price of greatness. It's not about who has the easiest path, the most luck, or the fewest struggles. It's about who refuses to quit. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before he became the greatest of all time. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000,000 times before he invented the light bulb. What if they had given up? What if they had accepted failure as their final chapter? The world wouldn't even know their names. And now let's talk about you. This is your moment. This is your time. Right now you have a choice. Stay in the past, trapped in the same cycle, the same excuses, the same doubts, or break free. Rewrite the story, change the narrative. Take control of your life. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not defeated. You are a fighter, a warrior, a force of nature. You have fire in your soul and greatness in your bones. The only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live is the decision to go after it with everything you've got. So stand up, wipe your tears, silence your doubts, ignite your passion, and when the world asks you, who do you think you are? You look them straight in the eye and say, I am unoperable.